How's it going, everybody? I wanted to go over a couple of things that, for the people that are interested in the CCNP track, for the route and switch, well, the CCNP level of this, actually, hang on, I'm stuck on a cord here. I, like most of you, that you should know that I'm going for my CCNP right now, and in route and switch. I'm going through the Switch series right now, and I can't really say it's that much more difficult than the CCNA track. I mean, it's more focused, obviously, but the big thing right now with CCNP Switch is you go through and the first, I don't know, 10 videos are about review, VLANs, trunking, spanning tree, VTP, rapid spanning tree, that type of stuff. All stuff that you learn in the CCNA. And then it moves into more advanced topics like Ether channel, which is how you take two trunk connections and bond them together. So you get, instead of having two 100 megabit circuits or connections or trunks, however you want to look at it, you have one 200 megabit circuit. Or, sorry, I keep saying circuit. That's what we use the term at work. But I was looking through the topology here, and this is actually the topology that they give you for the CCNP Tshoot. So this is what, I don't know if you noticed up here at the top here, but this is what they give you to work with. And quite honestly, it's really not that scary. I mean, this is actually how, if you were to go into Cisco's website and do the demo, they actually let you get on the command line and poke around in it, and this is actually what you would end up having to deal with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replicate this in GNS3 and also use GNS3 with my lab equipment, and because the way that it's set up here is it's all point to point. So as you can see, point to point here, point to point here, point to point here. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make R1 the router that goes to the internet, and I'm going to configure frame relay so it's point to point plus is NBMA, so it'll be also a non-broadcast multi-access network. So we'll be running OSPF over that, and as you can see, I mean, there's only 3 pages to it. We have the layer 2 and layer 3 topology, so you get to see what's going to be going where. Now it does look a little intimidating, I have to admit, when I first looked at it, but realistically, all these connections right here are just 2 crossover cables going in between the 2 switches. So we have one, we have, what is that? We have a port channel here, we have a port channel here. We have and this circle indicates a port channel. So like if you look where this, the dotted line actually indicates a port channel. So here and here is a port channel. Here and here is a port channel. Here and here is a port channel. So they have, it's not a lot of port channels, 13, 14, 23, and 24. And now, all that means is you're going between switch 2 and switch 4. That's all that means. So switch 1 and switch 3, switch 1 and switch 4, switch 1 and switch 2. So what that means basically is you're going to have a Ether channel between the 2 layer 3 switches, because you're going to be doing layer 3 switching, and then you're going to have trunk links going between the distribution layer switch and the access layer switch. So I know that they cover core distribution and access is Cisco's enterprise composite network model, but realistically, unless you're actually running a large topology or a large network, you're not going to have a dedicated core, so to speak. So you're going to take your distribution layer and your core layer and combine them to make what's known as a collapsed core. So what that does basically is it, like I said, it collapses your core so that the distribution layer switch may be a 4500 series switch, one of the big chassis switches, and then this guy over here might be a 3560, doing your voice and stuff like that. So it just depends on how big of an environment you're running, how large the company is, and how much money they have to spend on equipment. So Where I work, we have a lot of it's a large enterprise. So we have a lot of 6500s, we have a lot of Nexus 7Ks, a lot of Nexus 5Ks, Cisco 4500 series. They do a lot of 3550s, 3560s for voice. So I don't get to play with any of that. So most of what I deal with is out here. So when I mentioned that I deal with the WAN connections, I'm pretty strong when it comes to the wide area network. It's frame relay, MPLS, ATM, that type of stuff. So that type of stuff is going to come in handy for me. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my devices here. If you want to give me a second, I'm going to take my devices here, and basically what it's going to turn out to do is this. I'm going to configure, I have the two 3550s, which are layer 3 switches. I'm going to set it up so where that it will, let's do this, hang on one second for me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the, let's see here, jump up to 75%, that'll work. We're going to take the layer 3 switches and two layer 2 switches, which is, we have DSW1, DSW2, that means distribution layer. And then we have the access layer and access layer. So I'm going to take this 3550 and this 3550. I'm going to bond them together because I have plenty of crossover cables. You know, I've got 6 switches and I have 2 here, 2 here, 2 going to this switch, 2 going to this switch. As you can tell, this line goes to here. That line right there comes up and drops into there. So these 2 go to here, and then these 2 come up to here. Okay, that's how it's connected. I will take another picture when I get it all hooked up and situated and go from there. But I'm going to do a connection so it's like this. So this right here will be this connection right over here. I don't know if you guys can actually see that, but this connection right here and over here. So actually, I'll highlight it. Will be this connection right here. Now, let's see here. We have a connection between this switch to this switch and this switch to that switch, which is fine because then it'll be this switch to this switch will be from here to here, and then this switch to that switch will be from here to here. And then we will do interconnectivity. So I'll bring these 2 down here to where it'll be this guy will connect to this guy, and then this guy will talk to because this guy's already talking to that guy. So technically I already have that set up. It's just a matter of connecting it in. Now the access layer switches don't have that. They've only got port channel connections up to the distribution layer switches. So I will more than likely, because I've already got a port channel here. Actually, I don't have any layer 3 or ether channel running currently, but I do believe I will. It doesn't say on here. Oh, it'll be layer 3 in between the distribution layer switches, and it'll just be a single layer. It'll be layer 2 going to here. Now, what I could do, I'm not sure if I'm going to actually go this far with it, is what I could do is I could fire up a virtual machine in VMware and configure a FTP server in Microsoft in Server 2008 and do that, because then I would actually be able to give it an IP address, ping it, and stuff like that. So I could simulate an FTP and do that, or I could just throw another router in there and do that, and have it on VLAN 10 connected to a switch, and do that, and you just make it so that it's connect via FTP, and make you can actually turn a router into an FTP server. So I could do that as well. So just thinking here how I could set this up as I'm talking here. But that's basically what I'm going to do. And as you can see, currently I've only got 3 serial cables to connect to my frame switch. So basically what I'm going to do is I'll go into GNS3, I'll configure it so that I'll use this topology right here. This is layer 3 for version 4. And basically what I'll end up doing is I'll set it up to where the entire network will be running OSPF process ID 1, is what that means. So that's process ID 1. Then you're going to have area 0 between router 2 and router 3, and which will be area 0. And then area between router 1 and router 2 will be area 12, and between R3 and R4 will be area 34. And this will be a totally not so stubby area. And totally not so stubby, I believe that means that it's actually I have to go back through because I'm not 100% sure what that means. I know a stubby area, or a stub, is a router that doesn't connect to anything else. A totally not so stubby area, I believe, is a router or is an area that is connected via something on the outside of a stub, and it transfers a different LSA type. But I have to go back through, and I'm not 100% on my OSPF area types. So, like I said, I still have a little bit of review to do before I go take the route exam. But I wanted to show you what I saw and kind of go through it and configure it, because what I'll end up doing with the layer 2 and 3, you see BGP 65002, that's a private ASN, 64512 through 65535. Those are all private ASN numbers. So what I will end up doing, and I've already figured this out, is if you look right here, it says GRE tunnel right there. That's a GRE tunnel, and that's going between here and here in area 34. What I'm going to end up doing is this: all a GRE tunnel does is it's a point-to-point tunnel between two routers. Now, point-to-point tunnel between two routers could mean this. You have R4 and R3, you configure a GRE tunnel between the two of them. Well, I'm going to break that rule on the topology here and make that between R4 and R1, because then what that does is it makes, tunnel-wise, it makes R4 look like it's directly connected to R1. Because then what I could do is on R4, I could set up policy routing so that if I want to take the R4 to R3 route for some traffic, I could do that. Or I could point traffic via policy routing out a GRE tunnel out R1. Or I could add another router out here, do an R5, and set up R5 to be the router. Now, coming back to that, what I'll end up doing is I'll make R1, I'll run BGP over the top of it. So I'll have OSPF, so R2 and R4 won't be BGP or won't be running BGP at all. R1 and R3 will be BGP. This guy will be an IBGP neighbor. This guy will be an EBGP, because he'll be connecting out to the outside world to 65,002. I'll turn this guy into, say, 65,001 or something to that effect. And then once I get BGP up and running and situated, that's what I'll end up doing. Now, you ask, why am I doing this on the Tshoot? Well, I was struggling when I first got into the CCNP track, or the CCNP level. There's a topology out there for the CCNP. Bunch of different topologies that Jeremy put together for CBT Nuggets and Brian McGann put together for INE. And basically, they just use their CCIE topologies and they kind of thin it down just a little bit for the CCNP level. And that's fine, that'll work. But I was looking at it, I'm like, there's nothing really out there for the CCNP. There's no topology. So I saw this and I said, this would be perfect actually, because that lets you take everything in the CCNP and bridge it all together. And basically what will end up happening is I'll take layer 3 switching, ether channel, stuff that will take basically the CCNA 4 lab that I put together, the series that I did. I think it's it's close to 20 videos right now, and probably close to 20, not quite 20 hours of video, probably 15. But I'll take that same concept and I'll go through and it'll help me solidify what I need. And then on top of that, when it comes to the wireless, I'll set it up to where in GNS3 you can't run wireless, but I'll probably do a similar type of topology in Packet Tracer to kind of simulate how you would run wireless and stuff like that, and voice in regards to well, I don't know if you can do it on an Ether switch router in GNS3. I'll try. I don't know if it'll let you do port security, but these are things that you'll have to do and stuff like that, and then how you set up syslog and SNMP, and I'll show you some commands that are good for monitoring your network and stuff like that that I deal with every day. But this is basically what I wanted to show you, and I'm gonna build this topology up here in just a little bit. And what I might do, so that it makes sense, is I might actually build everything in GNS3, and the idea is that I have two network cards in my computer, the one that I'm recording on right here, and one of them is built into the motherboard, and it's the I/O panel on the back of my tower, and that connects to my switch, the switch in the back of my router right here. Because if you were to look at my computer, this is to the right of where I'm sitting right now. My computer is way over here on this side, over here, and it's up on a shelf actually. So then, because the floor that is in the room here is linoleum, and if it ever was to flood, I didn't want my equipment to get dirty or to get wet. I can always replace a power strip, but it's a lot harder to replace a computer. So basically what I will do is I'll throw layer 3 switches in here, and I can get at least Ether channel up and running. And I don't know though if I can do Hsrp on routers in GNS3. I've never tried it. And basically what it'll be Hsrp on, this will be the standby, this will be the active router. And basically all that does is it gives two ways of getting off the network. If they can't get off this way, they can get up here to R1 and go out R4. But then I'll set a policy routing when I get to that, and then it'll shoot it out this way over a GRE tunnel, or this way. And I could always set up another router if GRE doesn't work with policy routing. So I don't know if that's going to be the case yet. But I'm going to build it in GNS3 real quick. And I'm actually going to pause the video. I'll take a couple minutes to put the topology together, and I'll come back and I'll show you guys what I've got. So if you want to hang on just for a minute, I'll be right back and I'll blow your mind. Okay, as you can see, I got my topology built, and really nothing complicated. It's actually really simple. But I'm going to go, and I'm going to, at this point, do the cross section here. Let me do something real quick. Okay, and as you can see, probably be easier if I did it this way. Okay, as you can see, I've got my topology built, and it's nothing like I said, nothing complicated. But basically, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to scroll to this guy right here. Actually, that's IPv6, and I'm going to add. Actually, let me do it this way. Okay. I know it probably looks a little like wow, but it's really not that complicated. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slap that guy in there and slide that back over there. Beautiful. What we're going to do is I went through, I looked at all three of the printouts, and I consolidated it. So that router 1 and router 2 will be area 12, router 2 and router 3 will be area 0, and router 3 and 4 will be area 34, and they'll be a totally not so stubby area. And then router 1, 2, 3, 4 will be BGP AS 65001, and router 5 over here will be 65002, and they will be eBGP neighbors, because I'll configure that as an eBGP peer. These R1 and R3 will be BGP running BGP, and R2 and R4 will not. Then down here, the layer 3 switches will run EIGRP and will redistribute EIGRP into OSPF. And taking it one step farther, for the IPv6 area or stuff, we'll do OSPF version 3 on AS6, and down here we'll run RIP next generation. So that's basically how I'm going to set it up. And what I'm going to do is, I think what I'll do is I will add a another route out here, another router, I think is what I'll end up doing. And that router will simulate another network, and I'll have a bunch of loopbacks attached to it, and then that's how this guy will determine how it gets off. Now, all you guys see is a frame switch in here, and the way that I actually have that laid out is this. Remember that frame relay delcies are locally significant, so it's not like an IP address, but R1 is port 1, R2 is port 2, R3 is port 3, R4 is port 4. So when I configure R1, I'm actually going to have point-to-points, because OSPF can do that. OSPFs are point-to-points between R1 and 2, 2 and 3, and 3 and 4. And then I will also come back, and R1 will be the hub of a hub-and-spoke network. And at any point in time, I could always add in full mesh to where all I would have to do is configure 2 and 4 to have a delcy, and that wouldn't be hard at all to do, because right now it's 1 is connected to 2, 3, and 4. 1 is connected just to 2, 2 is just connected to 3, and 3 is just connected to 4, and there is no mappings in between 2 to 3 or 3 to 4. So I will configure it so that R4 is the hub, and these guys are spokes. So that'll be how I do it. Now, in GNS3, it does give you the option to run either channel, but it doesn't give you an option for what type of negotiation, whether it's Cisco proprietary or open standard. It only lets you turn it on. So at that point, you can run. I'm not even sure if you can run. Let's see here. I'm curious. I'm just turning this router on. Hopefully everything comes up, because I'm curious. I haven't actually ran. Now it's basically a router right now, because it's still gonna go through its boot up process, but all it is basically it's a router with a ether switch module plugged into it. So if I go config T and I type in actually, you know what, exit, we're gonna do show spanning tree VLAN. You know what, let's do show VLAN. VLAN range, VLAN, oh, VLANs. Okay. Okay. It's the commands are slightly different. Okay. I was just curious. I've never actually. I was hoping that I might be able to pull off a. What's the term I'm looking for? private VLANs, but I wasn't sure if that was going to work. But I know you can do a port channel between them. But the idea is, oh, gotta love Windows 7 here. My computer's kind of freaking out right now. But like I said, I was gonna set it up. Actually, do show CDP neighbors. Yeah, it doesn't say anything because it's not turned on yet. But basically, I was going. What I'm gonna do is this. Once I get this completely built to where I've got OSPF running, Hsrp running, I've got switching running, and honestly, there's not a whole lot in switching you can do at this point, because I don't know if this is going to support Hsrp. Let's see here. Show standby. Standby, okay. It does. So I probably could configure Hsrp, which is good. I'm going to show VRRP. Okay, what about GLBP? Okay. I'm just curious to see what it all can support in that regard. But, because what I'll do is I'll configure port channels, and I know I can only turn it on from what I've read on GNS3's website, and do that. And then, as I'm going through, there won't be a lot of, like, just conceptual stuff, because quite frankly, there's not a ton you can do with switching. I mean, yeah, you can set up port channels and, you know, port security. That's my next thing. Control U, config T, interface fast 1/2 switch port security. Port priority. See, I can't run port security here, which kind of sucks, but yeah, you can only turn these guys into access ports, and can't do a whole lot beyond that. So trunk. Oh, it does let you run the encapsulation and then .1q. Yeah, that's all it's gonna let you run. So I'm still gonna basically what I'll end up doing is this: I will still I'll make it look like it's running. I'll set the port channels up and show you guys how that goes, and maybe it'll let me do layer 3 switching, or not layer 3 switching. What's the term I'm looking for? Layer 3 ether channel. Maybe it'll let me do that, and hopefully I'm sure it'll do layer 2. I don't know if it'll do layer 3, but I have my equipment here that I could fire up and poke around with and see if that'll work. And then if that works and I have no problems with that, then I'll move forward with getting this other stuff situated. But I'm just I'm trying to get it situated to where I know exactly what's going to be happening where. So when I'm clicking on things, you guys will be able to follow along, and it won't be complicated. It's just a matter of getting things positioned, and once I have them positioned, filling in the gaps. So I do believe I'll be able to set up VRRP and Hsrp. So what I'll end up doing is I'll do like a cloud, and I'll put the cloud, one will connect to here and another one will connect to here, and I'm hoping that that'll work to where if I cut it over, or if I cut a link, it'll automatically fail over using, you know, first hop redundancy. I'm not sure if that's actually going to work, but that's the goal. I may have to use two different ones because it is a cloud going out to, it's technically the same connection to GNS3. So it's going to be one of those situations where I'm going to have to play with it to see exactly how it's going to work. But I wanted you guys to see that. That's my topology. Not going to set anything up right now because of the fact that it's almost 3 in the morning, and I'm getting tired. So, but I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm really excited about this because this way here I'll at least be able to configure everything, and I feel pretty confident when it comes to OSPF and EIGRP and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm going to go through the Switch series first. I've already been through it already. It's not that long. These series are only like 10, 15, 18 hours long, so you can take a 3-4 days and knock it out pretty quick. And if you're already familiar with the technology, if you're brand spanking new to you, it's going to take you a little bit longer. Oh, I know what I was going to talk about. I know I'm going to bring out, I think I have 7200 series routers. And I know these guys, if you click on R10, and these guys are a different type of situation. Where these guys you can set up, where is it? Yes, POS OC3. If you don't know what an OC3 is, that is a optical connection. That's OC3 is that is because you get T1, T3. Let's see here. Forget exactly what the next step up is. You hit OC3, OC12, OC48, OC96, OC192, OC368, OC768, 762, or something like that. But OC3, it's optical. So what you could do at that point is, I plan on running MPLS and doing a connection like that where it's OC3. So POS, no, it is not POS. Like, if you don't like somebody, you call them a POS. It is not point of sale, either or pile of whatever. It is packet over sonnet. A sonnet ring is typically something you would have running in a city. Like say for instance the Milwaukee area. If you were to pick the north, east, south, and west corners of Milwaukee, you could run a sonnet ring around Milwaukee and have packet over sonnet. And sonnet stands for synchronized optical networking, and that's where you get POS. So it would be packet over sonnet, OC3. So you're able to emulate a fiber optic backbone. And that's what you would want to run your MPLS circuit over. And when I get the CCNP and I'm all situated, actually when I can configure everything in the CCNP without having to reference a video for, especially with the BGP stuff, that's the only stuff that I think I'm gonna have an issue with. And actually I should take that back. Advanced redistribution, I can guarantee I will struggle with because I'm not 100% strong on that one. And policy routing. Those are the only things that I'm going to have to possibly go back and when I'm all situated with this, is I will go back through and I'll start breaking stuff. And I will walk you through how to fix it. Excuse me, I just ate a little while ago. Keep burping. But like I said, I'm going to set it up to where it'll be BGP running over OSPF, and then EIGRP redistributed into OSPF, and I might even throw in a I'll be able to get it to where R4 will be able to talk to R1 because I've already got a mapping and frame relay for that. And what I might even do is I might set up point-to-point connections between these guys, so it's point-to-point, and have a policy routed so that I have two choices to go either this way or this way when I get to the policy routing and do that. I'm just not sure yet exactly how I'll do it. It was looking a lot cleaner before I got it all dirtied up, but it helps me when it comes to configuration where I'm supposed to be at and stuff like that. So what I'll probably do is, even though I have Delcy mappings for stuff, I'm probably just going to do point to point. Actually, I'll do it right now while I'm sitting here talking to you guys. I will actually serial 02 to serial 02, and same thing here. Because basically what this will end up doing for me is I'll be able to set up all of everything on frame, and then I'll be able to do point to point, and I'll be able to do point to point sub interfaces and stuff like that. So you guys will be able to see how that works, and then I will have avenues off the network to different areas so that I could practice. What's the word I'm looking for? Scalability. That's the main thing. Right now, because if your network isn't scalable, then you didn't build it right. That's half the battle right there, is making sure that you design it in a way that you can scale it. So I plan on going after the CCDA, the CCNA security, the CCNP, route switch, and Tshoot. I feel like I'm just starting to get in my stride to where I'm getting stronger with the technologies, and what I'm probably going to do too is, since I have such a topology built, is I'm probably going to add in there multicast. I'll work with a little bit of PIM, and then multicast OSPF, and there's another one out there. I just can't remember off the top of my head what it is, but you guys get the picture. So I'm going to save this as it is, and as a CCNP Tshoot, and as everything gets built, I'll go ahead and break it and walk you guys through how to fix it. Because once I know how it works, and that'll be the thing, when we're going through BGP, it's going to be learning how do you set it up, and then going through each section of BGP, because I have a BGP video series that I'm going to go through. I'm going to set that up to where the middle section here will be all telco, and then I might add a router or two in there on the outside just to simulate a non-provider backbone, and then go from there. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm hoping this series will be interesting. There probably will be a lot of pausing on my part, not being an advanced user yet on a lot of stuff, so I will do my best to not pause, and if I do pause and I figure it out, I'll be like, okay, this is what I did, or okay, I figured it out, this is what I need to do, and go that route. So anywho, that's about it. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.